Hey, it's Glitch and this will be a video chart on ERHC Energy Incorporated, ticker symbol ERHE. I want to do this as it's really been in a nice uptrend and has, made another nice move. Then it's been going through some consolidating, but nonetheless, definitely worthy of getting noted here so people can keep an eye on it and see what's going on. So I'm going to go over two charts, both the weekly and daily, and that way more of the long-term holders can get an idea of what's going on. So if you're more of a day trader, this video probably won't really pertain to you. Perhaps you factor in daily charts into your analysis. So if you do that, then yeah, this should be pretty valuable. But I'm not going to be going down into any 15-minute or 30-minute type time frames. So with that being said, let's just dig in. And the first thing I want to start off with is just the overall trend and why this is just such a nice trend. The main reason that I'm looking at is just simply this purple line here, which is the 50-day simple moving average. You can see that it was going level pretty much here back in February, but from March it turned up right about here. It started to really turn up, and then as you can see from there, kind of the rest is history. Just a very nice uptrend, and it's been getting strong. And then on top of that, you look at its big brother, the 200-day simple moving average, and although not very steep, it is starting to now also rise, as you can see right here. So as opposed to going down right here and then completely flat, it is now starting to rise. So both of the long-term moving averages are signaling uptrend, and not that you really need to see that. I mean, you can see it just in the price action itself, but it's always nice to have the confirmation to know that the averages are over time increasing. So looking at the chart here, I want to map out just some supports and resistances, and keep in mind this is the daily chart. The first support level that I want to get up here is kind of the worst case scenario must hold level, meaning if the price does fall all the way down here, that's going to be pretty rough, but at the same time, from a charting perspective, you are still holding all these highs. So at one point this was a resistance, it was broken, it's become support. So with that being said, I'll get that to green and then make it nice and thick to remind everybody that this is more of a kind of worst case scenario type support level. But we're way up here, so it's going to take a lot for the price to drop down there. Like I said, I'm not saying it's going to drop down there, just want to get that mapped out. Then another support level that we're looking at is pretty much this gap, which has already filled and did act as nice solid support. As you can see, when the price dropped down here, filled that gap and shot back up. So this is going to be another one of our support levels that we're looking at. And then for our kind of near-term support, we have this maroon line here, which is the middle Bollinger Band, otherwise known as the 20-day simple moving average. So in the shorter term, keep your eye on this, and as long as the price can hold above there, then the trend remains intact. But if you start to break below that and start to get this sideways action, then you're not in a downtrend, but you're no longer in an uptrend either, and you're just doing some consolidating. Kind of a good example of that is right here. You drop below the maroon line a few times, so you weren't necessarily in an uptrend. In the grand scheme of things, you were, because of the 50 period was still sloping up. But for you short-term players, it was definitely just a consolidation period for a couple months before finally reestablishing the uptrend. So that's what it's kind of getting to right now, looking like some sideways action, but you still have these moving averages moving up. So in the grand scheme of things, it's still an uptrend. Resistance-wise, you can either do a couple things. You can draw a downtrend line like this and call that resistance, or you can just extend out some horizontal lines and call these resistance. But however you want to do it, the point is, you clearly have some resistance there, so it's just a matter of seeing if you can get through it. Now hopping over to the weekly chart, the key thing that I want to point out here, first let me get these lines out of here, is kind of the level that you've been holding, and once again, in the grand scheme of things, what you want to see hold, and that is this level here, where you had back in looks like March of 2008. So here's the first day, March, and then you had these 2 days here that correspond with what looks like May. So a long time ago, you were up in this price level and then kind of fell apart. But right now you're holding strong. This price level is at, here was a high of 61, 61, and 61. So 61 cents is a very key support level in the grand scheme of things, and especially if you want to hold this uptrend, you really want to see the 61-cent level hold. Now, if it doesn't, you don't need to freak out, but keep in mind this is a weekly chart. So at some point during this week, the price was below 61 cents, but by the end of the week, recovered back upwards. So that's why you kind of have to combine the weekly chart with the daily chart to understand what you do and don't want to see. But like I said, during this week, it was below the 61 cents. However, on the daily chart, it was still holding the key support level. So hopefully that gave those people the confidence to either pick up some more shares or just hold on tight before it finally recovered. But the main point is you're in an uptrend, and there may be some pullbacks, but it's nothing to freak out about. Especially when you look down here, I just noticed this, the MACD on the weekly, just a real strong uptrend channel. So that's exactly what you want to see. And then the last thing I wanted to point out was nice solid volume on the week of this big candle here, and then during the sideways action you're getting less volume than what it was on the breakout. So that's healthy, that's normal, that's what you want to see, just doing some consolidating. So if you have any other questions, feel free to shoot me a message. But once again, this was ERHE. Thanks for listening.